So in this video, we are going to learn how to create this cool preloader. So I don't know if I'll show all 10 in this video or divide it into like multiple parts. But again, you can see this is the first preloader. You could see it takes time to load. This number gets started like this, and then it disappears, and then you could see it. Also, this all 10 of them, you could get it as a template. I will be selling it on my page if you want to like not start from scratch. So if you go to here, I haven't updated here, but it would be available here for $5, like just like this animated modern menus or anything else. It would be a paid template, but you could make it yourself if you want to make it from scratch by watching these videos. Now another thing is, this is not going to be a technical video. Like, I will not show you how to create custom preloaders. It's basically like this pre-made preloaders that we are going to make. You could see like all this cool stuff. But if you want to learn to make like your custom preloaders, then I will be creating a video for that too. And for that, you need to actually have some prerequisite knowledge. So you need to know how to do GSAP animations, which you could learn from this video. It's a 2-hour video and you would get like most of it. You will and everything that I've used for this preloaders is available in this video too. Need to know some JavaScript, but even if you don't know, it's very basic of JavaScript, but I will explain in that video too, so at least you would be able to create your own preloaders even if you don't know JavaScript in that video. And we would be using like Paste.js, but again, that is also for that video. So if you want to learn the technical stuff, again, I actually recorded that video already, but I think it's not good, so I'll re-record it later. But basically that would explain to you how to create your own custom preloaders. But for now, these are like the 10 preloaders that I am making. So let me just show all of them. So we watch the first one. You could see it goes like this, looks cool. The second one, like this. The third one, you could also check it. I will link it in the description to check the live demo. You could see there's like a bar around here that goes till 100. Just ignore this one, but it is like a bar that goes there. And please watch it fully because you would need to know how to customize it to your own liking. There's one more thing like this, and just remember, this video actually does not play instantly. I wish it would play instantly, but I think that's just how it is made. Once you refresh, it would play instantly, but if you were rolling it for the first time, it would not. This is the fifth one. Just very simple one. Probably should change the styling in here and it would look like nicer. There's the sixth one. Different images would be good around here. So that is the sixth. Seventh one. Looks cool. Eighth one. Oops, I should have let it finish, but you could check it in your own website or in your, I will link it in the description so you could check it. This one is cool too. Slides off. And then 10th one. I am planning to add 10 more into this template in future, but I don't know when it would be because I need to get some ideas or references to make it. So if you want to give me some references that you would like me to make, I would try to make it and then add it in the template and also create free tutorials for it. So again, get this in a paid template, but if you want to start from scratch, you could watch this video. So again, this is just like a basic page that I created, and then we will create our actual preloader. So for that, we need to have a different container, and you would probably add this in your header, or you would add it into your every single page. You could create it in a shortcode. So if you have like a plugin, free plugin for like Anywhere Elementor, which allows you to add shortcode to your whole website, or you could use your normal Elementor if you have pro version. So if you want to get pro, you could also get it from the description, and that way you could support me to make more videos like this. So I just created a preloader container. If you don't see this, you need to click in your navigator. Again, this is like the old type of this is the old menu, but if you have like new one, it would be like on top somewhere. I don't remember. I'm just used to it, so I'm keeping it as the older layout. Yeah, if you like open this one like this and do right click, you would also actually find the navigator like this too. Here's what we are going to do. We need to have a heading. Let's call it as loading. You could actually name it your website name too. I'll make it P because I don't see why you should make it anything else. Good for SEO. If you use H1, H2, it might ruin your SEO, especially for preloaders, unless you want it to be. So this is our loading text. We can just give it like a random. I'll just give it Times New Roman, why not? Then this is just going to be our normal heading, and then below this we need to have our progress bar. And the best part about this progress bar is you could place it anywhere that you want. It doesn't just have to be here. So let's just create a progress bar. I created a container. I've also set this to boxed, but if you want, you could set it to full width too, and then probably play around with these values. But again, it's your choice. So I'll keep it boxed. This one is going to be our progress bar wrapper, I guess, or actually let's call it like progress bar PG. And then this one would be like 2 pixels in height like this, and make sure to remove your padding because by default Elementor adds like 10 padding, so it's actually 20 size. So actually let's make it like 10 pixels so that we can see. Let's do 20, and then we can like change it later. Inside this progress bar we'll add another container, and I'll call this as like progress bar, I guess. Next step is to select this progress bar and then make it absolute. We can simply just add 100% height in here. Actually, we can do it without doing this too. We can actually choose this progress bar, and maybe rather than doing this stuff, we can simply just select it as grow, and rather than doing absolute, we could just make this progress bar have it on the left side. So let me just add some colors so that you can understand it. So progress PG will make this red color, and this progress bar will make it, I guess, blue in color. If you'll see that progress bar full width, if I reduce this, it is like a loading bar, right? Now if I select my progress bar and then make it be in center, we can make this progress bar be like this. If I make this be at the right side, select this progress bar, it would be like this. So it actually comes down to your requirements. Also make this padding to be 0. I totally forgot to do that, because let's say if you were not doing grow, it would not stretch. So again, keep this in mind that it just comes down to like how you want to make it. So if you want to use position absolute, you could use it and then simply switch these values. And then if you make this be disabled and then make this one be in center, it would be in center. So it's your choice. I will keep it default. I think for all these templates I've used position absolute though, but again it's like very much your choice. I'll make it on the left side. Make sure this progress bar has 0 padding, and very important stuff in the progress bar BG, make sure overflow is set to hidden. If you don't do that, it sometimes like does like weird stuff. I don't know why. So make sure to do it hidden. Even though like this one should not be bigger than this one, so just keep it hidden, so anything that is outside this container would just be hidden. We can later on change this to like 2 or something, 2, 5, but right now let's just keep it 20. The progress bar, I'll set it, we will at the end set this to 0. Next stuff is just giving some color to this one, so let's give it a color like this. I'll also make this, I guess, lighter. I don't know if there is option for more light, whatever. So let's just keep it like this, and then for our progress bar we can reduce this, sorry, not this one, this progress bar BG, if you want to reduce the size of it, something like this, like 50%, it would be this much. Our next step is to add this number, and the best part is you could actually place this progress bar BG wherever you want. So let's say if you could use it like normal Elementor flow, or you could use position absolute to have like specific location. If you do percentage, you can make it, if you make like bottom and then do 0, it would be at 0 and then 0 like this. Obviously you will need to make sure that your progress bar BG is 100% like this, or if you want smaller, you could keep it like that too. The reason why I said to keep it as percentage is so that it is like accurate in every single devices. So you could play around with it if you want to have some like different style or different area. I'm just going to keep it default. Not sure why this is getting so much stretched. Okay, so it's just looking weird when, so don't worry if it looks weird, as long as it looks correct around here, it's perfect. Next step is inside our preloader, we will add a heading. This one, I'll just type 0%. Again, does not matter what you type in here, but let's say your page was loading like very slow, then even the preloader might load slow, right? Because sometimes the connection from your browser to your hosting takes time. So it's good to keep this as 0%, but let's say if you type something like this name, then what would happen is it would say show name, like the text name around here for like 1 second or less than a second until the JavaScript loads and then changes from 0% to 100. So if you just keep 0%, it just like ignores all that issue. So keep it at 0%. Basically this one basically changes the text, whatever text you add in here, to 0 to 100 like this. So if you just keep 0 as default, then it would always look as 0. Let's make it like high size. Why not? Let's just keep it Times New Roman. I know like this, the font is not really good, but you could choose your own font and all. Let's keep it like this. Okay, this is the font that I'm going with. You could even choose like viewport width. So for right now you could see it is pixel based, but if you want, you could change it to viewport width. So it is like how much viewport width it should be. This is 10, so this is 10% of this size. If I make 50, it would be 50% of this size. So let's keep it at like 20 is too much. Let's do 15. So it would be 15% of this size. Again, very much dependent on how you want to do it. For this one, we would use position absolute and then place it at the bottom. If you want to place it around here, wherever you want, you could do it completely easily. If you want to place it around here, just add like one extra container like this and then add this inside of this one. So if you add this like this, progress bar bg, and then move this heading inside this, let's do default and then do right side. You could see now we can have like text around here and then make sure the number is smaller. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep it like the way I have made it before. Okay, so we got all our stuff around here. So next step is to just give it the appropriate CSS classes, which is this one. You could see if I scroll down, it is actually at the top. So what we need to do is we need to select this and make it position fixed. Give it like a very high Z index so that it is on top of everything. Now if I scroll down up, it is always going to be around here, always on top. So a preloader should always show until our page has been loaded. So for that, we will actually give it our CSS classes. So this one would be given as DM preloader 1. All of this would be in the description in my blog post. I add it in my website blog post so that I can change it or update the code if I do some mistakes. So just go into that page and find it. This one would be given as text, DM preloader text, this heading one. This is DM preloader bar, which would be given to not this one, but actually the inside one. And then this one would be given as DM preloader counter. And I have set this to P. So keep that in mind. Both of these are set to P. You could set it to span, P, whatever you want. Don't just, if you do H1, H2, it's not good, obviously for SEO, so don't do that. One important thing is our progress bar should be set to 0, right? Because even though our code would change it, by default, if it just shows 22% and then suddenly like switches around here, it would not look good. Let me just show you. So let's just keep it 50 for now, but I'll change it later to 0. I will add an HTML widget at the bottom of everything like this and add this code, which would be in my description and like this. Let's do preview. and you could see it did work. I don't know if you can see the issue happening. So you could see it is actually at 50%. It's not actually starting from 50, it is starting from 0, but the page is like very small that it is loading fast. So you could see the page is loading like very slow because I enabled VPN, so it like slows down the speed of my internet a lot. So you could say it starts from 50 and then suddenly goes to 0 and then starts going to 100. We don't want that. Similar to this text too, if we actually type anything else, any text, random text like DMmotionarts or just like hello or anything, it would go from hello to 0% instantly, and that kind of ruins the experience. So let's just not do that. So just one basic stuff that you need to know. Also everything just went hidden, right? You could see, which is why what I suggest is if you want to do any changes, you need to actually save it in a notepad, delete this and then refresh the page. But now I can actually start doing some changes. So progress bar, let's set it to the default state. Obviously when you want to do some changes, just come back, open this, do some changes. So I'll just make this to be black. I'll make this to be like 2 pixels, this progress bar. So if we go down, this is how it looks right now. Our progress bar PG, I'll make it white. So let's see how this looks. Okay, I like it. And then we can add our code. Okay, it's not actually doing anything. It's like very random. So at least in the preview page, it should work. This is not doing anything. Let's see why. Okay, so I did found the issue. You could see if you go into inspect and then go into console, you could find the issue. We actually need to go in here and then select this as span. Or if you selected P, then you will need to go into the code. Let's say if you want to use P and you don't want to use span, then what you need to do in the code is you need to search for this one. So this text and then turn this to P. So if you want to use P instead of span, then you need to turn this to P, but I have used span, so I'll do span like this and then do preview changes. And you could see it scaled up. Now to show you some code, how you could customize it, I'm just using like a random website that I used to like paste the code in here. So first thing first, let's just see what we can do. So in here I have 2 variables. Again, I'm not going to explain this for every single one of them. I'm just going to explain it in this one because for every single preloader from now on, I've used these variables. Even if you don't understand, just a quick stuff that would help you. This is checking if our GSAP animation has been finished, and this one checks if our page has been loaded. Because let's say if a page has been loaded faster, so let's say our page loads and let's say our animation is totally 5 seconds long and our page takes 3 seconds to load. So do you want to show the page, or do you want the animation to do you want our preloader to just hide when our page has been loaded, or you want it to hide when your animation has been finished? So if our animation is 5 seconds and our page has been loaded in 3 seconds, then our animation would not be showing completely, right? Because our page loaded in 3 seconds and then we already hide those. So our animation might lose something. Like if let's say if I had an animation which shows my logo, it would not be showing that anymore. And that can be kind of annoying if it's very much like case by case dependent. Another case is our animation finishes in 3 seconds, but the page takes 5 seconds to load. So if our animation takes 3 seconds to if our animation takes like 3 seconds to load or finish, then do we want to hide it after 3 seconds, or actually we want to hide it after our 100% page has been loaded, like this one? So what I've done is, rather than relying on only one of this value, we check if our animation has been completed, and if we also check if our page has been completely loaded. So if both of them are loaded, then only we hide our preloader. So right now you could see this preloader will only hide if our animation is completed and also our page has been loaded, and that is why it is set to false around here. If you don't if you don't worry about your animation to finish, then you could simply check or make this to true. Just set this to true, and making this true would not check if the animation has been completed or not. Okay, so let's say if your animation is in mid animation but the page has been completely loaded, it would just hide the preloader. But if you set both of this false, then it would check both of this, and this is like ideal one if you want to show both the animation. And obviously this one should always be false because we only want to hide our preloader when our page has been loaded, right? So just keep in mind, make this true if you want your animation, if you don't worry about your animation to be completed before your preloader is hidden. And if you want your animation to be completed, then make this to false. And just a simple example would be like on complete, we just change the gsap to be true. So basically we are saying when our animation has been completed, make our variable which was false to true, and then run this function. So I'm not going to explain the technical stuff between this. I actually have a dedicated video that I'm going to post. Next is DM Preloader 2. So this one basically shows how much letter spacing should be done. So if we refresh, it goes from 0 pixels to this pixel. So you could actually test it around here. So go in here and then make your letter spacing to 30 like this. Oops, 30, and this is how much it would be going. So once you have found desired one, make this to be 0, go into the code and then add it in here how much you want. You could even add like any other code that you want to do. If you check my gsap video, which is this one, you would know that you could actually just add anything in here. You could add opacity, you could add your line height, anything that you want to do the text, you could do it, and it would go to that state. Like to that state it would just go for 2 seconds. So you could reduce it, and this is just ease. Again, this ease would, I've explained it in here. Next stuff is not really that important, and this is the exit animation. So when like here it is the code, a simple explanation, you don't need to understand for this video, but we basically check if our page has been loaded 100%, and we also check if our animation has been completed, then only we hide the our preloader, and we are basically making y to be 150% above our screen. So if you want this to be faster, so the exit animation that happens on our preloader, which is going from this to this, if you want this to be faster, you could reduce it. If you want it to be slower, you could do this, and I've added a delay of 0.1 seconds. And at the end of it, it just basically just removes it completely from our DOM. So again, just very basic. I'm not going to explain it for every single preloader for this one. I'll only explain how to do some changes, but not going to explain all of this stuff. So just keep these two stuff in mind, okay? And obviously, if you go into your tablet portrait, you could actually change this to be like your own sizing like this, and then it would work nicely. So it would also go to 30 pixels of letter spacing. I might update this code. Again, I'm recording this video, but I might update this code so that it could add like custom values for all three of this stuff. Now let's make the second one, and just keep in mind that I'm not going to go into all of the details. You need to check the first one that I created, the first preloader, where I went into like more details to explain to you how everything works. For like second to 10 one, I'm just going to show you how to customize it, but rest of it is just like similar to what I showed in the first one. So let's create a container. Let's call it as preloader like this. I just messed it up. Instead of this, we will add our heading. You might hear some like what you call vehicle sounds, kind of annoying, the place where I live, so just ignore that. We just added a heading, made this P and made it in center. Let's just increase the size to your liking. Let's keep it, I guess, 70. Why not? Let's duplicate it few more times. You could use how many text you want. So we got all our text in here in the center, and then our last element, we can add anything else. If you want to have like just text, you could keep it, but I like to have a logo. So I'm just adding my logo, which is an image, and I'll use custom to reduce the size. Don't use this one. This one actually does not reduce the, so you could see this is actually the whole size of this widget or this container. this pink border one, and this is 50% off that one. So we don't want that. We want to keep this at 100 and then use this value to change the size of this whole container or this widget. Rest of it is same as what we have done. So if you want to learn more in detail, I've already explained it in like the first preloader, how this text and all works. So let's just add our text. Let's make it 0%. Let's make it P, and let's just give it a size. I've already explained how this works, so just check the first one at least, and then you could just decide to check whichever you want. And then we can actually just do percentage or pixels. It's your choice to make it like a bit above. We can also do like bit like this, and then play around with the sizing to your liking. If you want, you could change to viewport width and make it, I guess, 15% of the screen size. I'm just going to keep this as, I guess, 5. I don't know what I've used around. I've used like this small one. So let's just use pixels and then reduce the opacity. Then we will do the same thing that we did. We will create a container like this. We will call it as preloader PG. Inside of this one, we will make this one have 0 padding. Give it like your own required height. I'll give it 10. Inside this, we will add another container. This one would be our, I meant progress PG, not preloader PG. Progress, and this one would be our progress bar. Like this. This one should be set to grow so that it automatically takes the size, and then make this padding to be 0. Progress PG, we will make it, I guess, off white, and then make this one as black. Again, your choice. Now if we change this, it actually just acts like this stuff. Let's select our progress PG, make position absolute, make it place at the bottom. It is, our progress PG is set to 100% like this. We can make it go smaller. So let me just check how small it is. I'm just going to change my, like, this bottom container size, color, so that I can see it better. This is how small it is. So let's just increase it a bit. One thing to keep in mind, that when you actually check it in your page like this, it would not be at the bottom, I think, because of this top bar. So check it in incognito, then you would actually see the accurate size, not size, but accurate position. We have to make this progress bar P0 always. This heading, now we just need to give it like the appropriate CSS classes. So let's give appropriate CSS classes. So DM preloader would be for this one. I didn't name it correctly, but name it here. DM preloader. All our text would be given DM preloader text 2. Then our final element, that you could add anything. You could add logo, image, video, but actually logo is the one that is like appropriate one. We'll call it DM preloader element 2. All of this would be provided in description, so check that. Then our progress bar, not the BG, but the progress bar, we will give it as DM preloader bar 2, and then this final one, which is our heading, should be given the class DM preloader counter to make sure no dot like this. So DM preloader counter 2. Now let's just try doing preview and see what it shows, if it works. Actually, we didn't even add any code, so it would not show anything. Totally forgot. So in our preloader, I'll add an HTML widget at the end like this, so that it runs after all our elements have been loaded. Let's just copy this code, and you can see as soon as I copy, everything would just disappear, which is totally normal. Let's do preview. So if you want to do some changes, just remove the code, do some changes, and then do this, and you could see it just works. Some issue that happened, so it didn't actually slide off perfectly. Let's just see why. And it is also not working. Okay, what's happening? Let's see. Okay, it is working, I think. Let's do preview. Still not working perfectly. Let me see. There's no error at all. So obviously, let's just give position fixed. I totally forgot to do that, and let's do 999. So that is on top of everything, and we need to give it a color. So we never gave it a color, which is why it looked weird. Even though it showed white color, it was actually not white. So let me just try slightly off red color, or actually let's do like yellow. Oops, and let's do update. Let's do refresh once more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and slice off. Okay, it works perfectly. So if we scroll down into our script, go down, you could see I actually have like 3 values. So first one is desktop value. So how much letter spacing should it have? If I remove this one, this whole code, and if I go in here, you could actually test the letter spacing in here. So if we do 30, this is where it would start, and it would go to 0 pixels at the end like this. Okay. So if you want to have like different pixel size, by default you need to go in here and then choose letter spacing to like something else. So let's say by default you don't want it to have like 0, you could actually have like, let's say 2 pixels, right? So we can go into the code and then do 2 pixels, or actually you could even like type it in here, I think so. So try with both, I don't know which one would work. But for our mobile, not our mobile, sorry, our desktop, it goes to 30 pixels. For our tablet it goes to 20 pixels, and for mobile it goes for 5 pixels. So if you check in my previously created one, let me just paste it first in here. If I remove this one, which is in my website, you could see that if I do this one, it is like very small. So I've actually done some scaling in here like this. So just keep in mind, okay, that if you want to have like different what you call letter spacing, then for desktop, tablet, and mobile, if you don't want to have the gsap finished before this one turns, or before the preloader is hidden, we can make this true. Check the first one, the first preloader video, which is like 20 minutes, I think. Just watch that at least fully so that you understand what this does. This one is basically like how much duration it should be for the letter spacing. So if you want this duration, which is like which goes around like this, how much duration it should take, then you could change this one. You could see DM preloader on start. Okay, here letter spacing duration, and this is just custom is, so the animation to make it like smoother. And this is the final animation, in which once it's done, it like cuts this like this. If you want to learn how this clip path works, I actually have it in my full video in here, animate like a pro, and I've simply just changed it from clip path like this. It goes from this clip path to this clip path like this with gsap, and then at the end we just remove it completely. So yeah, that's all for the second one. Let's learn the third one now. Just I'm going to keep repeating this, but if you want to understand a bit more, check the first one, and I'll also be creating a video on technical part of it in future. That way you could create custom ones too. So now that we have seen the first two, let's see the third one, which is this one. You could see it does this. Second one, third one, fourth one, and then it just fades out. So we will make this one, and let me just forgot to. Okay, so keep in mind that if you want to learn more in details, just make sure to check the first one completely. So again, I'm not going to go in much more details, but make sure you check the first preloader always, and I'm going to repeat it every single time in case some of you just skipped to this part. So we are just creating a container preloader. This is like 100 vh again, everything's like same. Next step is to just add a heading text instead of this, and I'll just call it DMmotionarts. Let's make it in center. Let's style it up. Let's do duplicate. Uh, You can do any amount of text that you want. I forgot to change this to P. So P, P and P. Let's just try it without any container, extra container. So first one, I'm just going to call it transparent, but if you want, you shouldn't keep it empty, because if you keep empty, it just does not look correct size. If I add something like transparent like this, actually there's a reason why we need to add a container. I just remember. So I'll add a container inside our preloader like this, and inside this one we should have all our text like this. So all our texts are inside this container. We will make it go from left to right. There would be, actually not left to right, top to bottom. There would be like some horn sounds. Okay, so please ignore that. We need to make it in center like this. Paste style, paste style, paste style. So remember, we are not using this icon center, because then you could see this purple border is how much the black color would be. So when we animate this stuff, you would see this black line which reaches till end. Yeah, that is how much the size would be, which is why we will not select this center, so that everything is like stretching to complete size like this. And then you could control the size of this one to just find which size that you want, like how much black area it should be like this. And the reason why we have a first called transparent is simply because when this animation starts, you could say it starts with, by showing nothing inside of this, and I just decided to add a text here to just quickly make it. So I'll just make this transparent. Basically this one would be hidden. You could name it anything that you want, okay, but I've just named it transparent. I'm going to add one more, and then this one I'll just call it, I guess, enjoy or something. And then we simply need to do the same stuff that we have been doing for the first two stuff, which is creating like two containers for our progress bar, and one of it should be, so I'm just going to show it once, but I'm not going to show this one for like the future ones, because it is like very repetitive stuff. So we will do progress BG. Make sure to remove the padding. I'll do like 5 pixels, or let's do 20 for testing purpose. Then let's add our progress bar like this. Progress BG would be our background color. So let's make this one, and let's make this white. For this progress bar, we need to make it grow just to be like safe, and then the progress bar should have overflow hidden. Again, it's your choice to do it this or not, but I found it to be like sometimes like it shows outside the box for some reason. And this is how it looks right now. So you could see we can even add some small padding, like 1 pixel, not 1 pixel, like let's say 5 pixels. And then this one looks like this. And then simply make this progress bar have position absolute. If you want to keep it on top, you could do that. I'll keep it at the bottom so that it looks something like this. Let's add one more heading inside this container. Let's make this P 0%. Let's do this stuff. Let's make it position absolute. There's too many horns today, so please ignore that. This is how it is looking. So we need to make sure that it is above R, this stuff. So we could do pixels too, but percentage is usually good. But just to show it quickly, I'll do like 20 pixels, and you could see it's around here. And then we can make this one like 50, not negative 50, just 50. And it is around here like this. Our next job is to simply give it like appropriate CSS classes. So let's give that. These are all the CSS class that we are going to use. You can see the ads are actually showing because like Chrome actually banned, I think, the ad blockers. So here's one thing. So if we need to take DM preloader and give it to our preloader like this. Then we need to go into DM preloader empty text and give it to the first one. You could see the one that is transparent. We'll give it to that one. Then we have DM preloader text 3, which we would give to every single one of them like this. and then like this. And the last one we will give it as DM preloader element 3 because we don't want this to be hiding at the end like this. Next is our preloader bar, which would be our this inner container that we have, and then the counter, which is around here. So everything has been given the appropriate CSS classes. Now all we simply need to do is in this one we will add our HTML. Also one more thing, you could see that this is actually a transparent background. So if I, let's say, make this to be fixed like this and then give it, let's say, 999, you could see this is how it looks. So make sure to give it a color at the background like this. And I've also given like position fixed and like 999. In our HTML we will add our code, which would basically just hide everything. Okay, so this code, which you will get in description, make sure you do all the changes and then add it. And you could say it's already working. I also make the progress bar be like 0 so that it starts by 0 without glitching. And again, if you want to do some changes after you've messed up, just copy this in a different notepad and then update, refresh, and then do the changes. Let's do prayer. Okay, so this is actually the next day because my internet had some issue, but I'll continue where I left off. So we actually created this stuff, right? And next stuff is simply, you can see that some of it is visible. So make sure you do capital because I think it's just how Elementor has like made it. So let's say if I go to my HTML and then remove this, you could see that it should actually work, but for some reason it's not working perfectly for like this text. It is dependent on font, I think, the last one. But you see, if you make it capital, it would not be an issue. Not sure why this is visible outside this, but I think it is dependent on font, I guess. I'll see if I can fix it, but for now let's just continue. So now to customize it, okay, if you want to know what these two values do, then please check the first one. Like always check the first preloader full video and then you could check any other one. So this is the empty text duration. So you know the first one, which is like invisible, so it starts like this and no text is shown. It's for this one, so it takes 1 second, and then the rest of the text, it takes 2 seconds to do the animation, so it takes 2 seconds to go from front to back like this. This is the custom is that you could like, I will create like a new GSAP tutorial, but it's just easing function that I'll explain in the new GSAP video which I'm planning to make, like the big one. But it's just easing function. You could check the first one too, what ease does. It just like the speed of it. And this ease function basically creates like this looping, like it goes from full to back. Then this is for the last one. So the last text that we have in this one, you see the last one we have called as DM preloader element 3, and it is this one. So DM preloader element 3, for that one we take 2 seconds to do the same animation. I don't think there's anything crazy in this one. And there's one more thing, you can see that exit animation, I have added the fade animation, right? So when it finishes, it does the fade animation. You can see all of this is working nicely. We do fade animation, but you could actually do any other animation that you want. You could do like, if you do, let's say, y equal to minus 150 vh. Again, this is all I've explained in that big tutorial that I showed, the GSAP animation tutorial that I've created. Let's do preview and you would see that it suddenly does the different exit animation. And you could see, even though it is loaded 100%, it is not getting hidden because our animation is still running. You could see it just went upside. So this whole container, it just makes it upside because we just changed the y to be minus 150 vh. So you could create any other exit animation that you want. One important thing to keep in mind is you could see, you like I showed you guys, that even though the page has been loaded 100%, it is still waiting for the animation to complete, right? And that is because like this is set to false. If you set this to true, it will not wait for the animation to complete. It will just do this 100%, and as soon as this turns 100%, it will just hide the page. So that's one thing that I've explained in the first one. Okay, so first preloader that I created, just watch that full and then watch this again. I'm going to repeat this because I feel like some people might just skip to the next parts. Now for the preloader 4, this is very simple to make, and the thing about this is we are using a background video around here, but the issue with background video is by default Elementor runs the script for the background videos later in the page. So you could see that it does not instantly play the video. See, and again it is actually playing even faster because I'm refreshing it and it has already been loaded, like in my caching and all. But if it was like a new user, I don't know if it would have loaded like very fast, or it would load like very at the end, like this video. So again, that is just how Elementor has created it. So all I simply have done is like added a background video in here, and I don't know if Elementor has created it like that the video script runs at the like very, I guess 60-70% when the page has been loaded. So before that the video script has not been loaded, so no video has been showing. So it is very easy to create this one. So let's just do that quickly. Let's just create again 100 VH. This is our screen. We will call this as preloader. I'll just call it P because I've already done it multiple times. We just need to add a text in here, which would be our heading, and this one would be called as 0%. Do any styling that you want. Let's make this to like P. I don't know what I've used in the code, so let me just check. Yep, I have used P. So do everything, and then the text stroke is around here. Make the text color to be invisible, make the text stroke to be like some kind of color, and then you could just add some text stroke like this. And we already got an effect. Just keep in mind that based on the font that you use, the text stroke might be different. So let's say if this one has like good text stroke, but if you check in this one, you could see how there are like lines in here, and that's just how font has been made. So you could try different fonts too. Next is very simple. You just have to copy the code. Actually, we first need to copy the CSS class, which is, and give it to this one, DM preloader counter 4. Everything would be in description, so you don't need to like type it yourself. You could get it in from the website that I'll link. Let's copy this too, and then set this to our preloader, and simply just go into your video for this one and add any video. If you use YouTube video, then it would kind of show some stuff. So let's say if you like use a YouTube video instead, right? So I'm using YouTube video. Let's do preview. You could see it just shows this text around here for a while. It might not be a good experience. You could see it is not showing because it is getting hidden by this thing, I think so. Let me just try. Let me just add some spacing at top to see if that's causing an issue or not. Okay, it's not showing, but I found sometimes to be like it shows the text in top. So it is like very case by case, I think. But which is why what I've done is, instead of using, you could actually upload your own video. Obviously you could upload it from here, and then basically when you select it and do like copy, make sure you go into your dashboard and upload, because if you try to do it from here, the video would not be showing. So go into your dashboard media and then upload it from there. But what I've done is I've instead used like a Pixabay video. So if I go in here, this is from Pixabay site, which has like free content. So if you go in here, you could see it has like lots of royalty free. So you could just go in videos, select one like this, to like copy video address. It would be something like this. Ideally you should I accidentally did it here. Where is my page? Okay, this one. So I'll upload it here. and you could see this is the video. We can add a slight overlay on top of it. I didn't even realize it is like this stuff. I thought it was just a gradient animation. Whatever. Let's just make this white in color. Now let's just add our HTML at the bottom. So make sure it's at the bottom. Another thing, because HTML is a widget, if you go into this P, you could see that if I do 0, it takes this space. So actually even if you like do hide this, and it is still taking space, so it might not be perfectly in the middle. So what we can do is we can select our HTML widget and go into responsive and basically just hide it so that it does not take any space. And even though we hide it, the code is still running. It's just invisible and not taking any space. So this code, all you simply need to do is add it. You could see suddenly the animation is running. Let's refresh now, and you could see the video takes like a lot more time to load, and that's just how Elementor has been made. I don't know how to fix that, but I think that's one limit. And this color would be the one that is shown before. It is like hidden, so obviously we cannot see it anymore. Let's just select this to fixed. Let's do like 999. I'll need to like remove this and then refresh the page, but because like the animation has been running and then it just hid everything. Let's just do preview. It is still black. Did I not change the color? I did change the color. I think it is because of this overlay. Let's remove this overlay and see if that does anything. Okay, it did, because it's the same color, it's not being visible. Let's do green and see. I think it will only be visible for a few seconds. Yep, it is green, and then till the video loads it is green, and then you could see this is how it looks. So all it simply does is it makes this text go down and then fades out the video, and then your page has been loaded. If you use like nice video like this instead of the one that I'm using, it would work nicely. And let me just explain how to do some changes in here. So let's go down. So this one does not have a GSAP animation, so there is no like let equal to true, and like there is no like true and false in here. Only one of it is there, but you shouldn't make this false, because this is how this only is for like when the page has been turned 100%. Again, watch the first preloader, and then I've explained in much more detail for the first preloader, and then you could watch like any one of it. So just make sure you at least watch the first preloader completely. And if we go to this one, y equal to 100 vh, so this one is basically this going down. You see it goes to 100 vh, which is like the 100% of our screen size. It takes it adds like 100 vh size to it and makes it go down. You could do anything else. You could do you could remove it and then it will only fade out. If you do x, it will x, and then instead of using vh, you would use like wayport width if you were using x in here, like this, and this would make the text go towards right. If you do negative, it would make the text go towards left. If you just do opacity, it would just hide it. So again, this stuff will control the exit animation of the text, which is around here, like this one. And this one would control the exit animation of this full container, which is this one. So this video, like it fades out. If you use like y, x and anything else, it would do the fade out. Again, you need to watch like this video to know how GSAP works, okay? And if you look at this is just GSAP code that you could just add any animation to it, and I've explained it very nicely in this video. So at least watch this one and make sure to watch the first preloader in here. Let's hide this. Again, if you want to do some changes, just like remove this code, update it, refresh it, and do some changes, and then add the code again. So let me just load this in here so that I know what I've done. I don't know if there's like an easier or cleaner way to do it. obviously if you are using, let's say, just your coding, then it would have made it like much more easier, but I have to use like Elementor's page builder, and then I have to do some changes to it, which is why it is like, you see, it is all weird and stuff. I don't know, if you were using like coding, then it would have been like much more better, and we didn't had to do like this weird all stuff. But let's just see how it works. Okay, again, same stuff that we have done. 100 VH, make sure to add a background color. Okay, if you don't add background color, it would be transparent and it would not look good when it is overlaid on top of everything. Then we have, I need to like check it. Okay, I don't remember how I did this. Okay, so in this one I added a container. Let's make this be in center. So let's call this preloader, and we can just call this as our content or anything. Okay, make sure to give it some height. Let me just remove it so that I can show you why we need to add height. I'll add an image which would be our logo. Also, I've made that the logo has a white background, so I've not made it transparent, right? Let me use the transparent one, or actually let's use this and I'll show what happens when we use transparent one. And this is how it looks. We need to go and give it position absolute. Let's go to custom and then change the size of it. Again, do not use this one, use the custom. And you could see one thing, this container is gotten smaller, because when we use absolute, it thinks that there is nothing inside of it. Okay, it does not take any space inside of this, because absolute is like a ghost, you could think of, which you could place it anywhere. So this container does not know that there is an element in here, which is why we add a height in it, so that it has like, it actually looks nicer like this, and we can add some stuff. I'll select center and do center. You could see nothing happen, and that is because we need to go in here and then do negative negative. I'll actually add a color in here just to showcase, but you would not be adding any color. Okay, so it is now in center. Instead of this, we will add another container, which I guess I'll call it like tagline. And you could see it is just being on top of everything because it does not take any space. Instead of this, we will add our heading, which would be like DMmotionarts. What I can say is like, subscribe. You will type something like your tagline, like the best is best in business or something. Let's just make it bigger, like 40. Let's just keep it like this. Let me check what I did next. Now what we need to do is we need to select this tagline container and give this position absolute. And again, this is also going to be like not taking any space, but we'll change this to percentage. The reason why we use percentage is because if we use pixels, it's not going to be responsive, but percentage will make it be responsive. Let's make it go towards right until you like it. I'll make this be empty like this, because sometimes if you add 0, it would be on top because it is taking like 0 offset from top. So we do negative and make sure this is like set to, this one, else it would not work. And then just place it like this somewhere. This this logo would actually go towards left via our animation. So just to test it out, you could do percentage in our offset to -100, and you could see it went 100% of the size towards left, and that's how much it goes, I think. Let me just check in the code. I think so. Let me check. Actually no, we have set to -60, so this one actually does not go towards 100%, it goes to 60% like this. So we will do 60% in here, and then we will customize our stuff. So obviously we are not going to use this value at all. This is just for our visual purposes, because this is how the final location would look like. Then we would like check some stuff like, okay, I want it to be closer, I want this to be further, like this. This is going to be our final location like this. Okay, once you have finally figured out what the final location is going to be, select this your logo, you could even try with different values. So you could even try with, like, let's say I want this to be actually 65% rather than 60. So we know that this is going to be at minus negative 65, and then that's all you need to remember is this value. Let's do default. Now we are at this one. We have to now add all the code, but before that, I'll just make sure this P actually has like overflow hidden, just to be safe if anything goes outside. Then we will just add the appropriate CSS classes that I will give you. So this logo would have like DM preloader file logo. This heading, this CSS class DM preloader file tagline, you could get in description, would be inside of this one. We also need to make sure this is at span. Okay, we don't want to use h1 h2, right? And then we'll give it to both of this heading, right? Tagline. We will not do anything to this one. Then you need to select your preloader and then paste your CSS class DM preloader file in here like this. Now if you look at this animation, if I do preview, this is the previously made. Okay, at the end you could see there are two colors happening. For that we actually need to create another container which would be our second color and make this 100 VH, and then let's give it a color whichever you like. Let's do, I guess, green. Why not ugly color? Just use like good colors. Okay, I like to use like colors like this type of colors when I'm like doing some changes, and then at the end when everything looks nice, I just remove color where I don't want and I add color wherever I want. For example, this box would not have this color at the end, but it is good to visualize it. Let's quickly also create our progress bar in our P. So I totally forgot to create this. Let's do 10. Let's remove this one. Let's progress bar PG like this, and instead of this we will add another container which would be a progress bar. I'm not naming it completely because I've showed it like multiple times, and I need to like make sure this video is like not too big. So this is our progress bar, which would be our progress bar color. So if I make this red and if I make this progress bar BG to be something like green, now if I do this stuff, you could see, actually let's just make this black and let's just make this white. Okay, it looks clean like this. Next, simply just give this position absolute, set it at the bottom. This is already set to 100%, so it is going to look like this. Do I also have this heading? So I'll just copy it from my page and then add it in here. Again, I've shown this like multiple times how to create this one. It just just adding a heading and then giving it position absolute and then just placing it appropriately. So you could see all we simply need to do is give it a CSS class of DM preloader counter 5, which is this one, and our progress bar should be given. Let me copy this one, progress DM preloader bar PG. So if I go into the progress bar, this is what we will give, DM progress bar 5 to our PBR, not to the PG. And we need to make sure our PBR, which is our progress bar, is set to 0. I've shown this multiple times, so I'm not going in details, but if you want to know how to create this, I've shown it like 3 or 4 times, like for every single preloader before this one. For this PBR and this heading, it's like all the same steps, nothing is different. For this container, which is our background, so like preloader second color or something, let's just give it a CSS class of, let's select this and we are giving it as color 2 like this. So here's what we did. We created a container for our second color and it has been given this CSS class. Preloader has DM preloader 5. The content does not have anything. The image, which is our logo, is given DM preloader 5 logo. This one also does not have. These two are given position absolute. Oh, sorry, not these two. This image and this tagline. This heading has been given DM preloader 5 tagline, this two, and these are all set to span. This is not given anything, but our inner one progress bar has been given DM preloader bar 5. The heading has been given DM preloader counter 5. All of this would be in the description in my website, so check it out. Now we need to simply add our HTML in here, and let me just copy the code, paste it. Let's do preview. We also forgot to like do two important step, that is making both of this to be like fixed, so you could see it would just do weird stuff now. So make sure this is given fixed, position fixed, so that it's on top of everything, like 9999. And our preloader, we will also give it fixed, but we'll do 9998 because we want it to be behind our preloader, right? We don't want it to be on top of it. Now let's see. Okay, not sure what's that doing. Yeah, I know exactly. I know this tagline, this container, we need to give it overflow hidden like this. So whenever it is outside its container, it is not being visible. So not sure why it is starting from there, to be honest, but at least it works nicely. I'll need to check the code again. And you can see it just works nicely. Now one more thing, remember I said that we'll do 65, right? We don't want this location, we want it to be 65. Then let's select our code. Let me copy the code into this page and let's do some changes. Again, if you want to know this, just make sure to check the first preloader completely, at least the first 20 minutes of that preloader to be completely, and then you could check any other preloader without having to like worry. At least check the first preloader completely. So you could see there is a like a transform scale. So basically when I refresh, it just pops up. It takes 0.5 seconds to like pop up like this, you could see. And if you don't want to have this bounciness effect, you could simply change the ease to be something like power in out or powerful dot out, something like this, rather than using custom create one. This has been explained in this video too, okay, how to use ease. So just do that. You will simply just type in quotes like this and type power 4 out, power 2 out, power 1 out, 2, 3 or 4. So these are like default ones that you could actually check in GSAP documentations too. Then this is this minus 60%, so how much it goes towards left. So if I go into the code and change this minus 60% to let's say minus 80, that is too much, but I think it would give like more so I'm keeping my arrow around here. I'm not even sure what I'm saying at this point, but you could see it was around here, but it went around this much. So just keep in mind, whatever value you decided to create, you would just choose that in here. I mean, whenever you tested it. I'm sorry if I'm speaking like all like randomly, like all over the place, but this is what happens when I try to like record a video. My brain just stops working. Then this is the duration, so it takes 0.7 seconds to go from this location, so around this location towards left, and again minus 360, so it's just rotating on the left side, one full rotation. And then ease is just to make it a bit bouncy. I might as well just show you guys. If you search for GSAP ease, if you go to the eases, again these are all the eases that you could use. I've created custom one to make that bouncy effect. This is same as like any other video editing software or any animating software, okay? It's very easy to understand. I will be creating like the second part of this one where I'll explain custom ease. Also you need to add like one more script into your website. It's just as adding like one extra script, which is just copying, where is it, I think, yeah, just this text, and it does work. That's all you need to do for customizing, but I'll explain it later in that video. but basically I have done something like this. So it goes like this and comes down to the site, and then basically copy this. So if you want to create custom images, you could use that. But if you don't want any bouncy effect, you could just click on any one of this and then just copy this with the quotation and then add it. If you don't want that bouncy effect, so you could see it bounces once, it goes a bit more towards left and then comes back. Same with this text, it goes right bit more and then comes back. Let's see what else can we do. There's this one. So the tagline, you could see this, both of this tagline come together, so it takes 0.7 seconds. One cool thing that you could do is you could go in here and then type like stagger and 0.1, so the first text would come and then the second one would come 0.1 seconds later. So let's just try that. Let's try that. Okay, DM tagline here, so I did comma at the end. Okay, remember. And you could see it came a bit later. So that's one thing that you could do. One more thing before we do the responsiveness, you could see how my image is behind this one. So just select your image, this image, your logo, and then give it like higher z index, something like 2, 5, whatever. Again, we have already given our preloader like 999, so it's going to overwrite every single element, but we can actually give like some sort of stuff like this, like logo would be 5, and then our tagline would be like, I guess, 4, and it would go behind. But remember, because we have given it 999, everything inside of this does have 999, but we can give like each child element like its own, like the z index, but inside of this one. So we cannot just make this be, let's say we cannot just make this be like very like 9999 and 10 nines. It would not work because this one would overwrite it. Okay, but at least we can make one element above each other only if they are child of these elements like this. So we did this. Again, if we used our transparent logo, it would not look good, you could see. And I don't know how to fix this, as at least of now. Let's say if I do preview, it did look good, but I think you need to like do some testing to see if it looks good for you, but this is what I used. Next, let's go to the tablet, and I think that for tablet it looks good enough. Obviously reduce the size of it, or you could actually play around with these values too. So right now I've set this to nothing, right, which is why it's in center. But for this one you could actually try with different values like this, but keep this in mind that right now it is 35%, right? So if I make this bigger, let's try with like 12%, you could see it is always going to be there at this location. It would not be in the middle and it would go towards left side 60%, because that's how much we did. So it would go something like this. So we can actually play around with it until we like something. So this I like, and obviously the tagline, we can also play around with it until you like it, and then at the end remove the transform from here like this. Perfect. Same with the mobile, but you could see it is a bit bigger, so we can actually increase the size of our logo, make this go towards left. Let's check the code. So again, for every single devices it turns to negative 60%. Where is it? Here, negative 65%. We can do responsiveness and add like extra code, but I think you could just type in ChatGPT to do it. But usually it is good to use like the same ones too. You just have to do some styling. Just make the font smaller, make this smaller too. If you want something like custom changes, just let me know, I'll try to do it. This is how it looks right now. And actually, if we go to the transform offset, this is where it's going to be. So let's just play around with it until it looks nicer. Okay, this one looks good enough, and then let's reset it. So this is how it's going to look for the mobile devices. So let's just update, and then let's remove all the styling. I think this is more than enough. So you could say our preloader, and this is also working, this is also working. Obviously do like better styling, and then it just works nicer. See, and another thing is, I don't know if you can see it in here. Yep, you could see it scales up and scales down. So let's say if your page has not been loaded, it will just keep bouncing a bit, and for that the code is in here. Let me check. So you could see this code, if you remove this, you can remove the bounciness. So basically it just makes it a bit smaller and then keeps repeating it, like bouncing, getting smaller, bigger, smaller, bigger. It basically makes this whole container act like this. So let's see if I can show it. It just makes it go like little like this. I don't know if it's going to be visible or not because the page loads like way too fast. You could say it bounces a bit very slowly, and it will keep bouncing until the page has been loaded. So it kind of gives people that okay, it's still loading kind of effect. So that is the fifth one. Let's learn the sixth one next. So I'm just going to speed it up a bit because we are doing like repeat stuff. So if you check in all of this, we have been repeating like this stuff and this stuff. So I'm not going to show how to do like this bar and this text again and again because we are doing it again and again. So let's quickly I was recording another video. So let's quickly learn like the sixth one, and then we'll just speed it up because it's very easy from now on. Again, similarly, let's just do 100 VH like this. We can add a color to our stuff like this. Let's do blue color. Let's add a heading. Let's make it in center, and then we can type whatever you want. Do some nice font. I'm just doing Times New Roman, why not? If nobody uses it, so we will use it. Okay, so after we create like our text, we simply need to do is make our, where did it go? Let's do refresh. I don't even remember what we were making. Yeah, this one. So again, I've already shown how to do this stuff, so I'm not going to repeat it again. But let's create like our 4 images that are shown on left and right. We simply need to select VH because we want it to be percentage based, and then this one also percentage based, and then we can just reduce it to our liking. Make this to have like some sort of image. Let's use Taj Mahal, why not? Let's do position center, center, cover. You could choose anything that you want, don't have to be similar to this one. You could do like 10 like this, and then after selecting this one, I'm simply going to select absolute, select percentage like this. The reason why we do percentage is because it's much more responsive. Then we simply need to play around with it until you figure some like nice areas like this. Let's just duplicate this one. You could place any amount you want, and it doesn't have to be like this long. You could place it like any other. You could make squares. You could make this one be horizontal. It doesn't have to be similar. Okay, so keep that in mind. Again, I've already shown how we have made this preloader again and again, right? We just make a container, we make it height to 2 pixels. We are just making this be width 20%. I've selected position absolute, and then I've just selected this offset, which is basically, if let's say I'm just going to copy this in here so that it's like faster because it's way too repetitive that I'm doing. Let's just hide all our containers for time being. This progress bar, again, if I let's say remove this one, it's actually going to be in center. I don't want that. I want it to be in middle, right? So I'm just doing is I'm taking 50% and doing negative 30 pixels, so it's below 30% like this. So I'm moving it 50% on the top from the bottom, and then doing negative 30 pixels. So if you do 30, 50, you could do that. Just do 30 like this, and everything is same. We are just selecting like appropriate CSS classes like this DM preloader 6. Our next job is to simply just add the appropriate CSS classes. So let's select this one and add it to our container, which is our preloader. Then let's add the image to all of these containers. So I did the CSS class for all 4 of these containers. Next, let's add the text to our text element, which is this one, and then our preloader bar 6 to the inner container, which is this one. Now let's copy this HTML code that would be in description. Add a HTML widget at the end of every single stuff and then copy it in. Yeah, you see suddenly the animation did run. Let's do preview. But it's not completely happening. Let's see why. If we go into the console, I didn't add the text element. So we just need to add this text element that I've already shown how to add it. We just add like a heading element and then just add the CSS class DM preloader counter 6, and it's already placed here. This is running. It's not reversing. Okay, it is reversing. There we go. So you saw that's all we had to do. So in our code, I've already explained all this stuff. So like this is just clip path for our preloaders and for our images, so that it like reveals from the top like this. It reveals from this top like this. This two I've already explained in like just check the first one completely at least, so that you understand what this does. The first preloader, this is y equal to minus 100, because if you look at the text, you could see it comes from like top to bottom like this. So if you want to do from the X location, or even want to do like higher locations, so it comes from like above and then goes down, you could choose minus 500, 400, anything. It also comes from opacity. And one more thing you might notice is that not all of them have like the same animation. This starts from here, but this starts from top, and it is based on the order of your container. So you could see this container and this container, it is, this one is first in this list, and this is the second in the list, third in the list, fourth in the list. So it basically chooses alternative. So for this one and this one, which is first and third one in this list in a navigator, you could even like select like this navigator, and the first and third list, the whichever is the odd number would come from like top, and then the even would come from the bottom. And you could actually create any amount of numbers that you want, and obviously it is all responsive. So if you go into tablet, you can actually make this, let's say if you don't want this to be like this for tablet, all you simply have to do is make this like this, make this go something like this, and then play around with the values until you figure out something that works. If you check this one, which is the template that I've created in the mobile version, I've selected it like this because we cannot have enough space to make it go like vertical. Rest of it is just styling. And also make sure to do this as fixed, right? Position fixed, and then 999, so that it's top on top of everything. So now let's see how to do which one was it, seventh one. So the seventh one is very simple. We just have a logo, and then this one going from like this, and some animations. So again, just like every single one that we have created, we will actually create a container which would be our full size. So 100 VH like this, and then add a color to it. Okay, let's do this pink color. Then instead of this, we will add a container, and this container would be in our center. So we can actually make this in center like this. And this, I'm just going to call it as preloader, so that we know which container is which. This one we can just keep it like this. Instead of this, we will add our logo. uh, just I'll give this a name as content, because I remember how I did this. And then we will add our logo in here like this. I'll make it like smaller, it's your choice. Now obviously this one is not going to be square, right, automatically, because if you want to do and make this automatically square, you don't need to do this. I've done it in code, but let me just explain. We can simply just type like aspect ratio 1, so it does like 1 by 1 is 1 basically, and that is equal size left and right. So if I, let's say, make this smaller, you could say it turns into square no matter what. You don't need to do this. You also don't need Elementor Pro. Yeah, so we will create another container inside of our content, which would be for our circle. That is this circle which like reveals around here. We will call this as our progress circle. Let's keep it above, why not? And this one we are going to make it position absolute so that it takes no space. We can make this go like empty, and then if I select this one, make this in center, then our this progress circle, because we kept it empty, it would be in center automatically. Next, let me add the code, because without adding code, this one is like a hard to edit. So let me just copy this. Obviously nothing's going to happen because we haven't added the appropriate CSS classes. So we have DM Preloader 7, which would be added to this guy, DM Preloader 7. Then we have DM Preloader 7 content, which would be added to this one. And as soon as you add, it would make this square. And once you have done this, we can actually play around with the values until we figure out something that looks nicer. So one thing you would see that in this container, we have this progress circle, which I'm hiding for now. But again, it is not full size. So let's just make this full size first. Let's do grow. Actually, it's not going to do anything because we are using position absolute. So let's just go in here and type 100%, so that it takes like complete size like this. So I'm just going to hide it from our editor. I'm not sure where this padding is coming from. Okay, now there is no padding, and I think there's like it's in the image itself. Nope, I'm not sure. Yeah, there is some spacing in image which kinda messes it up. Should have made the image nicer, but you don't need to do this. It's your choice of styling. If you want to do like 50, 30, I'll just make this smaller like this something. So we gave this one as preloader 7. We gave this as DM preloader 7 content. Then for our circle, we don't need to do anything. I think so. No, we have to do, because we need to specify which one it is. So we will give this as DM progress circle 7. Let's preview and see if there's any issue or if I missed something. Just doing that, and then let me check in the console. This one needs to be given our image as DM preloader image 7. So if I go in here, select the image and select this one so that it does the popping up animation. And you can see it is doing the popping up animation. This content, we can do is, rather than making this be based on padding, we can use this image and then maybe just make it smaller so that it is something like this, 65. We should remove the padding. Might as well remove the gap, but it's your choice. If you use, or maybe just remove the gap and then use margin and all, if you want to add like even your tagline or anything inside of this. This spacing, I'm not sure where it is coming from. Let's just remove the progress circle. padding and see if it's coming from there. Yep. And you could see this progress circle, I had to do like 0 padding, else it was like not working nicer. But now it is doing perfect. You see it is doing perfectly at the edge of it, and then it goes down, but I think it's not in perfect center, and the reason for this could be this one. You could see this HTML widget, it is taking a space even though there's like, because this gap might be kind of messing it up. So you could just select this HTML widget, go to responsive and then hide it, and this would make it so that it reveals or exits via the center location like this. So let's select in center, up, it is revealing by center now. Next stuff is customizing it. So let me copy this. If you go in here, you could see there are two colors that I've set, ripple color and ripple end color. Both of these are same colors except the last value is different. So for this ripple values, which is like this stuff, you could see it is going left to right. This is 0.3 opacity. So this last value is just opacity, okay? And this is RGB, which you could basically just search for like RGB. I don't know if you can just type hex color picker and I think it will show, yep, this one. So you could just choose whichever color that you want. This RGB, so here RGB, and then 0.3 is how much opacity it is by default. So right now all of this has like 0.3 opacity. Probably should change like a better color. Whatever, let's just use this one only. But and the last one, which is this final one, because it needs to hide, right, which is why it is set to 0. So that's all you need to choose. You need to choose which color you want and then which color, and just copy the same stuff but make the last value 0. Might as well just show you guys. So let's say if I want to do red, I'll just copy this. Let me just copy in here and see. Okay, so I'll just change the first three value. Let's say if I want it to be a bit more visible at start, if I copy this and paste it in here, now the color has changed. Pretty cool, right? Then if I scroll down, this is how fast the animation is happening. So if you want, you could make this be like bigger so that it is like this animation that is happening, this ripple animation would be slower. If you make this 1 second, it would be faster to reach the end. This is the scale animation, so how much time the logo takes to scale. So you could see logo scales like very fast, 0.5. So if you want the logo to scale slowly, you could increase the duration. And this is the final animation basically to hide this stuff at the end. And same as stuff, everything, just make this to be fixed and then increase the z index to high so that it is on everything like on top of everything. Next one, which is going to be our, was it 8th one or 9th one? I don't remember. Okay, 8th one, which is also like very easy to make. So let's create a base again. Let's make this 100 VH. Let's make this darker, something like this. Let's add our image in the center. Let's make this center based. Let's add our logo. There we go. And then let's do custom. I don't know why there are so many horns, man. Every time I record, or maybe my like mic picks up, even though I have a noise gate on, it still picks up. And then we will call it as DMmotionarts, like this. Black, I like to make this as P because not good for SEO, right? H1, H2 in here. And this is how our text looks. Next, you can see this is just our heading that this is just like one extra heading that you add, and then do position absolute. So you could see heading P, probably make this to 0, Go to advanced, make this absolute, choose where you want, and then give it the CSS class DM preloader counter 8. Already shown how to add the counters and the progress bar, so I'm not showing again and again. Then instead of this, we need to add like another container, which would be our overlay, which is like this stuff you could see, which is by default to 0. So in this container, we will add a container, another one. I'll call it as overlay. Make this position absolute so that it takes no space. We have to now go in here and type 100%. Make this to be white in color, like this. Now if I play like this, you could see it goes from left to right. You can also make it go from right to left, like this, top to bottom, if you play with like this stuff, like 50% and all. So I'm just going to make this be, first of all, let's keep it like this so that we just play around with it. And then let's say if I give this mixed blend, so you don't need to do this again, just showing you what we have done, and select difference. If I scale this now, you could see anything that is white would show as black, anything that is black would show as white. Now one important thing, if I change this to different one, something like, let's say this color, you would see it is not looking perfect, this overlay. So keep that in mind, that when you use difference, it is usually good for white and black, but if you like this style, you could do that too, why not? And if you still wish to do it based on let's say if you have, let's say, white color here and then you want it to be red color, then you cannot use this one. It can be made, but again, I haven't made it that way. Basically you will need to like clip mask this one, and then when you reveal, you will need to clip path reveal this overlay. I haven't made it that way, but I'm planning to add like more what you call preloaders in the same template. So even if you buy this template now, and if I add later, you can still download it later with no extra cost. So I'm just going to show you for black and white for now, and then in future maybe we change it if like lots of people ask for it. So I'm just going to keep it as 0 because we want this as 0. We don't need to do this custom CSS. I have added as, you know, what you call in the code. Padding should be 0 because no space should be taken, right? And then in this stuff, we need to add our HTML code. So in our container, we will type HTML, paste this. Then this logo would be called as, let me just check this code. So the overlay would be called as DM Preloader 8 overlay. The preloader would be called as DM Preloader 8. The text would be called as DM Preloader 8 text. You again don't need to find from the code. If you go to like my website, then I would just show all the text that you want to use at the top of the code. And then this one would be called DM Preloader 8 image. And obviously this one has already been given, DM Preloader counter 8. Let's do preview. And you could see it works and then goes up. Obviously do the same stuff, give it fixed, and then the index so that it is on like top of everything. Let's see if it looks nicer though. And you could see it works nicer. Sorry, the 9th one. And you see this is how it goes. It goes from bottom, just like I showed previous one, where we are making it go from left to right. This one we are controlling the height of the second color, you could see. And then 5 images show like this, then it goes up. This one is also very easy to make, so let's quickly do the basic setups. Make this go 100%. Oops, sorry, 100 VH, so that it is full size. We will add a color so that this one would be our default color. I'm just going to take it from here because again I don't remember what I've used. So let's copy it in here. Looks nicer. This is the hex code. Then we simply need to add is 5 images. If you want to do this by container, you could do that too. You could use like 5 containers so that you have like some text in here or anything. It's your choice. But for this one, we are just doing it like this. And I would suggest doing it in like making the image what you call cropped to the appropriate size. In this one, I have used like image, but again, if you use let's say a container, then you do not need to crop it, because you could use like the display, sorry, what is it called, background position, background size and all that stuff. So I'll just make this 100 so it is full size like this, and then do custom and then select like I guess 15, 20%. 20% might be too much or maybe not. Then we will simply give position absolute, sorry, not to this but to the image. Let's do position absolute. Now you can see it takes 20% of the screen size, so that's not good. So let's just make it a bit smaller. Let's say 15% of the screen size, looks nicer. Let's do like 10 border, and then make sure you use percentage, and we can make this to be as like nothing, and then if I do go into my container and make it in center, it would be in center. So if we choose this image, I can now play around with the values until I like something. Let's say 10%. Let's duplicate this. Let's make this around here. Then go to transform, rotate and rotate to our liking. Let's do duplicate. Let's rotate. Let's do duplicate. Let's do rotate. Let's do duplicate, and then you do any number of this text, okay, sorry, this images. Doesn't have to be like same number like this. Next is we need to add our text, which would be this number, and I've shown this like multiple times. So let's do 0%, 50, advanced, position absolute, in the center, make this like this, it is around here. Let's make this white, increase the size of it, choose like a good font for it. I'm just going to use like whatever it like selects. So I'll just select this one. So if I select this one and do center, you could see it is in center because this is given position absolute. If you guys don't want to use the center stuff and want to still place it in center, I'll just show it once how to do it, and it works for every single stuff. You simply select this one and make this 50%, and you could see this is 50%, and then it starts at 50%, right? This is going from here. This is the half size of a screen and it is around here, but we want it to be left side a bit. So you select this text, go to transform, go to offset, do percentage and do -50. So half of this is moved towards left, and this is how usually you use via encode to make it in center. But again, this is a easier way where you just keep something empty. I'll just make this like 20 pixels at top, okay? Next is adding the overlay color. So let's add it and give it position. Let's make this 100%. Nothing's going to happen because we need to give position absolute, and now it is full screen. Let's select the second color. Let's copy this and let's paste this. Oops, I didn't mean to select this one, CSS class. I meant to select the color. Let's select this color. I'll just name it like color or something. Go to style, paste it, and you could see it now looks nicer. In case this color is been showing on top of your what you call on your images, then you simply need to make this to be 0z index and make all your image to be like 1z index and all of this, so that it is like higher. But for me it is working, but whichever has the highest index would be on top and whichever has the lowest index would be at bottom. So we will make this one be 0% in height, and you could say it is actually being from top like this. So 60, 80, 90, which you could do to, if you want this container to start from start from top and then increase till full height, you could do this. I want it to be from the bottom, so I'll just go in here and select bottom. And now if I increase this, you could see it is now increasing from the bottom. So let's keep it at 0 because that's how much, or that's where we want it to be. Let's go to our container, let's go to our HTML widget, let's place it in here. Now we just need to add the code, paste it. Our preloader, which is this one, is DMpreloader 9. Our images are called DMpreloader 9 image, like this. Even if you use, let's say, a container instead of an image, you can still just give it the CSS class called DMpreloader 9 image. And if you use a container, you might be able to just, you know, add some more stuff. For example, stuff like adding text on the image, adding some like maybe video here. And one more thing, if you were using a container, you might as well type this stuff. Actually no, I've already done here, so you don't need to do anything. Just change the CSS class to DMpreloader 9 image if you were using a container instead of an image. And just another thing, you could even add logo in here, you could add any other widget. It doesn't have to be an image widget. This one would be given as DMpreloader counter 9. The overlay would be given as DMpreloader 9 color, like this. Let's go to color and then select this DMpreloader 9 color. I think that's all. Let's see once if it's actually working. And you could say it is starting to work. And at the end, it just stops revealing. Looks nicer, right? Why did it stop suddenly? Okay, let's just try making this to be fixed, and then let's make this at 999 just to see. Why did it suddenly stop working? Now it's working, and I don't know what was happening, but it seems to be working perfectly fine. Let's do refresh and see. Yeah, it is working. A quick explanation of the code, or like not explanation but some changes. Basically, clip path is for this animation, which is this the final animation that we just do for this preloader, so that it like ends like this. If you know how clip path works, you would be able to simply like the final exit animation, you would be able to make it go from right to left, left to right, bottom to top. There's like 2-hour video on GSAP in my channel, which I would suggest watching it. So that in that video I do explain how clip path works and how you can use with GSAP to do this exit animations from any direction. So just watch that 2-hour video if you want to know how animations work in what you call GSAP. And it's very easy to learn. So this one, which is like scale 1.05, you can see that the image is slightly scaled down, you could see. So if you want to have the images scale like more, then you could make this, let's say 1.1 or even 2, and then it will scale from like the twice the size to the normal size. So this one is whichever size is the zoomed in size. Okay, and this is how much duration it takes for it to like scale down. So it takes 0.8 seconds to scale down. And again, this is like the exit animation. It takes 1.5 seconds to do the exit animation like this. You could see this animation and like simple easing and out. Yeah, so that's all for this one. If you check the responsiveness, you could see this is how it looks. You can actually make it, sorry, not this one, the one that I've already created. You could see I've actually placed it in different manner rather than doing left to right, and that's very easy to do. You just select the size that you want like this in percentage and then play around with these values, and then it just works. You can just play around with the values that you want. You could place it anywhere that you want. And that's how I created this what you call mobile menu or mobile preloader. I'm sorry if I'm misspeaking a lot. I've been speaking for like a long time, and I start misspeaking when I start speaking for a long time. So now let's learn the last one, which by the way is same. You could see everything is just same. So I don't think I should explain this one. I just use this one that we already created rather than doing it like manually. And all we simply had to do is like use the appropriate CSS class. So we already created this design, right, already. And if I want it to be placed on top of each other, I can simply just delete this like this, so that if both of these are empty, they would be placed on top of each other like this. You could see now they are placed on top of each other. Make sure this container also has like the center and then start. I've already shown how we can like edit this, right, or how we can make this layout. I don't want to go into like depth again, but now you simply need to just copy the code rather than using the previous code. Let's see this, and then we will select the container to be preloader 10. The images will be called like preloader 10 image. Let me check. Preloader 10 image, yeah. So each image would be called TM preloader 10 image like this. You can see everything is same, nothing's changed except we are just placing it on top of each other. We now need to make the color be like preloader 10 color like this, and the counter to be preloader counter 10. So that's all we had to do. Let's do preview and see how this goes. And you could see it just scales up to down and looks nicer, and at the end it just goes out. So everything was same, like nothing, the layout was same, just the CSS classes and code was changed, and the position of it, which is like takes like 1 second, 1 or 2 seconds to change. I'm sorry if my cat is doing meow meow, but I'll just feed her in like few seconds because it is like end. So in this code, we are basically making all the image have like 0 opacity by default, and as soon as they pop up, rather than fading it out, we're instantly popping it in, because that gives like nicer effect than fading it in. If you do fade in, it kind of annoys, it makes the look be different and it doesn't look good. So I'm just making everything be 0 scale, and then it starts from 1.1. So if you increase this to 2, this showing this like stacking effect which is happening would start from like higher scale and then go this size. The duration is 0.8 seconds. We are making the opacity be 1 at start so that it instantly pops up like this, and rest of it is simple. Again, everything I've explained in the 9th preloader. So yeah, that's all. I hope I wasn't confusing. If anything confuses you, just leave a comment or message me. I'll try my best to help you. And if you want to buy the template, it's a paid template with only $5, and I'm planning to add more preloaders in that template. So whenever I create it, it's not guaranteed when it would be done, but I will make some more preloaders and then add it in that, and you don't have to pay anything extra if you have already brought the template. Yeah, so if you want to start from scratch, just watch the video, just go to my like website and then copy the code and then do the layouts. But if you don't want to start from scratch, then just download the template and you're done. So yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.